right now, some people also have their brainstem firing in terms of survival instinct because they risk losing their jobs. In the modern era, it's not the tiger jumping out of the bush that's going to threaten you. It's your boss coming into your office going, "You've lost your job!" That's the truth.
I'd now like to welcome Dr. Avi. Dr. Avi is a global award-winning master coach, speaker, and trainer. He's worked with over 200 organisations across 10 countries, helping leaders upskill themselves in commercial growth strategies, leadership development, and team performance. He's helped companies like Pfizer grow to over $1 billion in revenue in Australia. He's now worked with multinational companies and professional service firms to optimise their brain power, maybe that's something we need, and use AI at scale. Let's welcome Dr. Avi. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Thailand. How are you doing? Good. I can't hear you. Malaysia was a lot louder. Good morning, Thailand. How are you? Awesome. Welcome to the Grant Thornton conference. I'm really excited to be here today. Hey, guys, there is a saying that I recently modified, and it goes something like this. People can get you places where money can't. But today, AI can get you places where people can't. You see, in my work with over 200 different organizations around the world, particularly coaching CEOs, consulting to C-suite executive teams, and helping managers upskill themselves, we've demonstrated that there are enormous secrets around business management, profitability, and growth that are not necessarily being shared. But for even the secrets that are being shared, these have now been completely transformed to digitization and artificial intelligence. And so the purpose of my conversation with you today is to share some of these secrets to help you with a new leadership system that will work in the current environment. Would that be of interest? Yes. Malaysia was a little bit louder. Once again, would that be of interest, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. Awesome. Thank you for your permission. Now here's the bad news. The bad news is this. The world is currently in a major conflict. I don't just mean the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, the conflict between Israel and Palestine, or the conflict between China and Taiwan. These are all disastrous conflicts. The conflict that I'm talking about is far greater. The conflict that I'm talking about is a silent one. It's occurring in your minds, in the boardrooms of every single company, in the meeting rooms that you go into day in and day out. And the conflict is this. Do I now trust my own opinion and my own judgment when making a decision? Or do I trust the machine? This challenge, ladies and gentlemen, will not only be exacerbated by the changes that we're seeing, but it's only going to get worse in the next 10 to 20 years in your companies. And so how do we adapt? Because in my research with leaders all around the world, they've told me 5 things are the biggest problems today. Number 1, many companies and many organizations are facing market slowdowns. With the rising interest rates that Ian mentioned earlier, many are seeing increasing wage inflation and a decline in margins. This is something that a lot of CEOs and boards are having to adapt to. Secondly, I also see organizations complaining about challenges in communicating with customers. Because of some of these growth pressures and the downward pressures on margins, we're seeing customers actually coming up with more challenges in communication and the need to actually be able to communicate in multiple different channels to be effective. Thirdly, I'm also seeing, or many of the leaders have said to me, Avi, we are seeing lots and lots of competing priorities and we cannot keep up with it. We can't actually determine which project we put in front of the others because we have so many at play at the moment and I have so many bosses trying to tell me what to do. There is a huge amount of information overload. Then leaders are telling me, Avi, I've got a whole bunch of teams under me. Some are high performing, some are low performing, some are highly motivated, some are not motivated. How do I manage all these different personalities? And on top of that, they're all from different generations, from baby boomers to Gen X to even Gen Alpha, and I don't know how to manage all of them effectively. Finally, we come to the topic that we're here to talk about today. All this noise about AI, is it just trendy stuff from a bunch of speakers telling you should do it, or is there real ROI here? How do I actually get the benefits relative to the costs? That is what CEOs are telling me they really want to work through. And so many of them are now inundated with an abundance of information and having to have thoughts like, what do I prioritize today as you're driving into work? Some of you, as you're coming in and customer facing, put your hands up if you're customer facing or dealing with customers every day. Put your hands up. A few. Many of you will be thinking as you come into work as well, what do I tell that customer in order to win the deal today? What do I say to them to shift how they're going to behave, right? And you're having to work through all of this in an environment where the human mind, every single one of you, makes 35,000 decisions a day. Your brain makes 35,000 decisions a day. Do I wake up now? Do I go to sleep? Do I go to the Courageous Leadership Conference? Do I not? Do I come for Manoj's session? Do I come for Dr. Avi's session? Do I walk forward? Do I walk back? Which underwear do I wear? All these are decisions that are occupying your brain every single morning and throughout your day. But you only got 35,000 decisions. Some are minor, some are major. The complexity, though, is this. The average organization now has 400 data sources in order to make a decision, on average. Your CRM system, your accounting system, your finance system, your HR and payroll system, the voices of your managers, the voices of your boards. There are so many inputs now that the research has now showed that executives now face, or 75% of executives have said the amount of decisions they have to make, the decision load, has increased tenfold in the last 3 years. It's absolutely complex. And so, how do you actually work through this and work out your most optimal path to profitability? Amongst all the questions that you have in your mind, the biggest question should be, what is my best path to achieve optimal, fastest growth and profitability? Because studies have shown that there's a 95% correlation between your decision effectiveness and your financial performance. Your ability to make a decision is what is determining the performance of your companies and your teams. And so as we look through the current environment, I've developed a new leadership system in order to help you achieve growth in the current era, in the age of AI. We call that Neuroscience and AI enhanced leadership. And that is the ability to optimize the use of your brain and the use of AI tools at the same time in order to lead your organizations. The short form for this is called NAIL. How do we know that this is effective? Well, the reality is some of the fastest transformational companies in the world have been using these kinds of techniques for over 20 years. Let me explain. Companies like Tesla have been using neuroscience and AI-enhanced techniques in order for their managers to learn what they need to learn and apply it to every single task they're doing as fast as they're thinking about it. The ability to get the information that you need in order to do the task that you need to do has allowed Tesla to grow to such a pace that in 20 years, they were founded in 2003, in 20 years, their market cap, they're number one automotive company in the industry, but their market cap is equivalent to the next 10 competitors in the automotive industry, $800 billion. And so the ability to use AI and optimize the brains of their managers at scale to help them learn is one of the major secrets in which they've actually been able to grow and accelerate growth beyond their competitors. Does that make sense? It's amazing, isn't it? And so when we look at and unpack what this nail system looks like, what this growth system looks like, there are three major pillars. The first is the need to achieve profitable sales. Now you go, what? Wasn't sales always profitable? It's actually a misnomer. We're seeing many companies and many CEOs that are not performing optimally, actually generating a lot of revenue and a lot of sales, but they're not profitable. They've now made a mismatch in decisions and not been able to catch up with some of the major trends in the market. Costs have gone up, they're still selling to the same markets, and they're actually not profitable as they used to be. And so one of the things we help CEOs do is actually tweak their go-to-market strategies in order to actually approach markets with attractive business models that are profitable. The second big pillar is enhancing team performance. And we've talked a lot about that today in some of the chairs in terms of how do we actually enhance team performance in the current environment. It speaks for itself. But thirdly, the foundation for all of this success in any company is building inspiring leaders. As I mentioned before, we are now in an era where the leadership of an organization has so much impact on the success of an organization. But leaders in majority of companies are baby boomers. And many of them are not digital savvy. And so we're seeing that conflict between leaders who are not as digital savvy now having to drive one of the most fundamental transformational changes in companies. And that enables success or failure of businesses. Underpinning these three major pillars are 9 subdomains. We do not have time to go into all of them today. However, what I'd like to go through is one of the most important ones in the bottom right, and that's called optimized decisions. Why is this one of the most critical success factors for you as business leaders today? The reason is this. If you think about the success of every single one of your businesses, particularly if you're a CEO and a senior leader, it's really a function of your decision making over a period of time. Your brain makes decisions such as winning new customers, such as working on your colleagues to invest in new market offerings, such as hiring the right talent to enable growth. And ultimately, for the high-performing leaders, you will achieve this optimal path to profitability, particularly for all of you that are in complex businesses and having to deal with lots and lots of different challenges. However, there are some of you that are also achieving the converse. You're making the wrong decisions, leading to significant losses. And that is not just one wrong decision. It's multiple wrong decisions over a period of time. Now you say, all of you are super clever. You've been promoted to where you are today. How can you be making lots of wrong decisions? Well, the reality is, it's not entirely your fault. The amount of information being thrown at you at the moment is so heavy that almost every single senior leader cannot cope with it. You experience something called decision stress or decision fatigue, where you're asked by so many questions by your employees and your boards and so on, that you can't actually continue to make good decisions throughout the day. What kind of leaders know these secrets? This is one of them. Look at what he wore every single day for over 10 years. Steve Jobs wore the exact same clothing in terms of his black turtleneck top and jeans and shoes every single day for 10 years, not because it was a fashion statement. He wore it because he was saving his morning decision capacity in order to invest it in high-value decisions around product and growth, rather than low-value decisions around what clothes am I going to wear this morning. Does that make sense? Thank you. I look at most of you. How many of you are wearing different clothes today than you did yesterday? Right? You're consuming your decision capacity on low-value tasks when they should be focused on high-value tasks. And the best leaders in the world know the secrets I'm teaching you right now. That's why I'm teaching it to you. And so, in the current environment, on the environment of the past, we have been making decisions on customer problems, tackling market opportunities, dealing with colleague issues, using our brains. This is how your brain works. I'm a medical doctor by background. It's not a PhD doctor. So let me just quickly show you. Your brain, the neocortex of your brain, is processing the logical facts. It's rational. When you're looking at market opportunities, when you're dealing with customers, you're looking at the facts, the dollar signs, what's written in documentation, along whether this is a good opportunity or not. But then the limbic system of the brain actually processes the emotions. Do I feel fear? Do I feel courage? How do I feel about a certain thing? A lot of the times when people are thinking about AI, there is a lot of fear associated with those decisions. And they fear the loss of your jobs. You cannot fully embrace AI in your organization until you counter that fear. Okay? Finally, the most important area of the brainstem, is what fires when you have a fight or flight response, when it's about your survival instinct. During the pandemic, everyone had their brainstem firing because everyone was worried about life or death through COVID-19. And so when you look at the products that were bought during that period, vaccines, disinfectants, anything that will save your life, you will spend a lot of money on because your brainstem was firing at that point in time. Right now, some people also have their brainstem firing in terms of survival instinct because they risk losing their jobs. In the modern era, it's not the tiger jumping out of the bush that's going to threaten you. It's your boss coming into your office going, "You've lost your job!" That's the truth. That's the truth. And so today, whilst in the past we were using manual decision making, the human mind was what was emphasizing decisions. Moving forward, we now have the opportunity for AI tools to enhance that decision making, to be part of your decision making process. It's called AI-enhanced cognition. AI-enhanced cognition. And it's an absolute category that's just going to blow away how business is done all around the world. We've proved it by using and working with leaders around the world. Some of this was early work where we started to generate algorithms around decision making and strategic decision making. This is one case study where we worked with an organization called Legend. It's an industrial and engineering company in Australia. One of the things we did with the leader over there, a general manager called Steve Rowe, was actually help the algorithm or use an algorithm to generate some new decisions, similar to what AI would do, in order for them to make new strategic options. They took on 32% of the algorithm-generated decision options and the other 70+% from human decision options, combined that and implemented that over the next 6 to 12 months. And what they found was this. Not only did staff engagement improve by 4 or 5%, retention improved, but the interesting side effect of this experiment was that profitability actually improved by profitability per employee actually improved by 35%. What? How can profitability improve by that much? The reason is this. In service-oriented companies, about 70% of the costs is actually labor. It's wages. And when you actually optimize that labor cost, when you actually invest in your people, when you retain them and they're motivated, there's a significant upside in productivity. Unfortunately, a lot of companies in Asia don't necessarily do that. We see people as a cost, not as an asset. And so that thinking, that mindset needs to change in this future environment. And so the technology, one of the challenges I've had in terms of delivering my services and coaching CEOs is that I'm only one person, one human with high knowledge base. But a lot of the CEOs were trying to ask me, Avi, I need your advice on X, Y, and Z. How do I actually digitize that and enable that with AI? So one of the things my team and I have done is download the contents of my brain onto digital assets. YouTube videos, research papers, books that have been endorsed by world leaders, and then upload that into an AI clone. Manoj was talking earlier about the digital twin was coming soon. He was right. It's already here now. Okay? And right now, we'll actually be showing you how a digital twin actually works, my digital twin. So what I'd like to do is this. Let's start with a real-world experiment. Let's stop with all this pretending theoretical stuff. Let's do something practical. What I'd like to invite you to do is actually think. Think for a second, because the question earlier about we've lost our thinking, will we lose our thinking, was actually a very valid question. Over the last few decades, our brain matter has actually reduced. Our brain matter is actually reduced because of our dependency on technological tools. So we are reducing some degree of our thinking. But the other answer is also right. We'll start thinking about different things and thinking differently. And so what I'd like you to do right now, an invitation is for you to just close your eyes for a second and think about what is one challenge that you're having in your business right now. Just one challenge. And we're going to test out my clone and see if it can answer that for you. Does that sound cool? Yeah? Very cool. Excellent. Can I invite you now just to close your eyes, deep breath, and just think about one problem in your business. I've got a few prompts here that you can look at on what might be challenging you at the moment. Come around and ask for some volunteers. Okay, are we ready? Good. Now, I'm going to just come around. I'm just a bit logistically tied to this side of the room for the moment. So any volunteers over there? Yep, we've got a couple. Very good. Let's just go to one. Okay, you have a question for my clone. Mic's working. And so if I can ask the rest of you to be quiet whilst we get my clone connected. Okay. Thank you. So the way the clone works is basically, it's now hooked up to the phone. So essentially, with just a very simple web link, you can now ask the clone any question that you'd want to ask Dr.
Hey,
Avi.
I'm Dr. Avi's clone. How can I help you?
Question?
Well, there's so many challenges I can think of. So just maybe one, because one of our panelists, or maybe even Ian, or maybe a few panelists talked about mindset.
Yeah.
So I would want to maybe ask your clone about change management, because things are changing every day, maybe every minute, every second. So when we work with our client, they really want to change, they want to make changes. The challenge would be around how do they bring their people along
On the journey.
on this journey.
Okay, all right. Good question. Anybody else have similar problem? One second.
Hey, I'm Dr. Avi's clone. How can I help you?
Hello, clone. Good to see you. So we have one person in the audience who has a challenge bringing people on the journey of change. Have you got any recommendations on how she can bring people on the journey of change in her organization?
Absolutely. The key to bringing people on the journey of change is clear communication and engagement. Start by articulating a compelling vision that aligns with the organization's goals and resonates with your team. It's essential to be transparent about why the change is needed and how it benefits everyone. Encourage open dialogue, allowing team members to voice concerns and ideas. This fosters a sense of ownership and collaboration. Regular updates and celebrating small wins can maintain momentum and enthusiasm. Now, how does she currently communicate changes within her organization?
I don't know. I'll ask her shortly and we'll get back to you. Thank you, clone. Was that useful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. We'll try one more. Okay, we'll try one more. I'll see if we can get to you, but I do have a time limit, unfortunately. What is your question, sir?
Thank you. Today's information of AI is mostly on general knowledge. But I would like to have an AI that is a domain expert based on Thai legal law and or the judge cases and can reference and be an advisor to any legal advice. How would I approach this?
Okay, so you're building something to utilize Thai legal law in order to advise people? Can you explain that a
I
little
would
bit?
like to build this kind of AI to
Okay.
give this kind of advice,
Okay.
which domain, which is very expert in a domain subject of Thai legal law.
Okay. All right. Let's try that.
Hey, I'm Dr. Avi's clone. How can I help you?
Hi, Clone. We have a participant in the Grant Thornton conference who is wanting to build a technology platform that utilizes Thai legal law in order to basically create queries from and answer questions in the organization. Have you got any suggestions for him on the approach?
Creating a technology platform that leverages Thai legal law for organizational queries is an exciting endeavor. I recommend starting with a thorough needs assessment to identify the specific legal areas and types of queries the platform should address. Collaborate with legal experts to ensure accuracy and compliance. Use AI-driven natural language processing to enhance the platform's ability to understand and respond to complex legal questions. Lastly, consider integrating a feedback loop to continually improve the system's accuracy and relevance. How does the participant envision the platform being used within the organization?
Is that useful? Good start?
That sounds like a good start.
Sounds like a good start. Okay, excellent. Was that cool, guys? He's still talking. He's quite a young clone, so he doesn't know when to shut up. But that just shows you the power of utilizing AI when you can have like world-leading experts advising you in real time to make your decisions. Imagine every single manager in your organization having something like that to advise them before they come to you with a dumb question, right? The most powerful thing is, in order for a CEO to get coached by me at the moment, it's about 4,000 USD per month. In order for you to get Dr. Avi clone, it's 20 USD per month. 200 times savings. The cost equation around this is tremendous. And that applies to every single professional service or knowledge-based service around the world. And so, before I leave the stage today, I really want to thank you for your attention and acknowledge you for paying attention. I'd like to give you two gifts. One is for those of you who are interested in optimizing your decision-making and how your brain works in making decisions, you can have a snap of this QR code, and I'll provide you with an optimized decision toolkit. Secondly, for those of you who are interested in experimenting with my clone and would like to test it out for yourself, again, the QR code will give you a link where you can actually start talking to your clone, because this is the future. All of us are going to be combining conversations with humans with conversations with AI and clones in order to make decisions for tomorrow. I'm going to put that QR code up on the next slide as well, because hopefully by the end of today, you've now realized, not only heard, but also seen and felt what it's like to actually understand three things. Firstly, that in the past, we were actually basing our growth and profitability based on inputs of human decisions. That's how we grew the fastest. Secondly, today, many of the speakers have already told you this. The combination of the human mind and brain together with AI delivers the best thinking possible in the fastest time possible. But tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, the fastest profitable growth leaders will not only be doing it for themselves as leaders, but actually enabling the entire teams at scale to use neuroscience and AI-based techniques for growth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I hope you've learned a lot. Kapung Krat, and I'd love to connect with you at the rest of today's conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Avi. It was interesting that talking about assets from Dr. Avi. We, at Grant Thornton, we're always telling particularly our manufacturing companies that they need to sweat their assets more, get the most out of their assets. And I took from that speech that the assets, certainly our business, and a lot of your businesses, is people. Now, perhaps we shouldn't be saying we're going to sweat our people more. But what I'm getting is with AI, we can get a lot more out of them because they are able to make decisions much more quickly. They're able to do research much more quickly. And I guess job satisfaction is going to be much better. So some great tips there. Thank you.